Hi, my name is Ariella Halevi, and welcome to Soul Centered. Soul Centered is a center for loss, meaning, and healing. It is a Denver-based, but also a virtual-based healing center, and it has been a dream of my husband and mine to really work together and build a center that is surrounded by healing and loss and meaning in order to help you center your soul within all of life's chaos and beauty. I am the director of healing. I help spiritual midlife women connect to their divine body wisdom so that they can heal both physically, emotionally, and spiritually. I see women in their midlife that are struggling with either their physical body or traumas, transitions, and any type of life challenge that feels like they need more of their voice. So what we do is we explore the emotions that are blocked in the body through guided visualizations that elicit emotional responses. And coupled with that, I have created a pathway to their voice and to their soul. So the pathway is through these guided visualizations, eliciting emotional responses, getting kind of rid of the weeds in the garden so that you can see a clear path to receive your own soul messages. And I do that with your help, with a client's help, by using intuitive guidance and energy work. It is really a dream and a lifelong practice of my own to share with other women that are struggling and need help. So tonight, I'd like to talk about how to find the power of your own voice, even when others disagree with you. I work with a lot of women that struggle to find their divine feminine, their divine feminine voice. I work with a lot of women that struggle to use their voice in a way that makes them feel empowered, not angry, but empowered. And so a scenario may be, I'm just going to tell you actually a personal story because it's a lot easier. I struggled most of my life to figure out how I was feeling. And so when you are in a situation like in your family life, in your family of origin, or things that happen to you along your path, that when you learn to not listen to yourself by other people who have gaslighted you. I'm working with a lot of clients right now that have been gaslighted. Gaslighting means that people outside of you try to tell you that what you believe is wrong, and you start believing them because you're not trusting yourself. So if you grew up in a home possibly that didn't honor your voice, and you learned how to not honor who you were, then you could possibly set yourself up, if not, if you don't awaken to it, to let everything else outside of you rule you in terms of how you make decisions and how you speak your truth. And so I learned from an early age to shut down my voice because I felt that it was too strong and it wasn't the party line. And so I just learned that it was easier to comply and to not express my truth. And that when I did express my truth, it was too strong and it was too overwhelming. And so in this idea of being too overwhelming, I just shut it down. The beautiful thing is that when you start to listen to the soul, to your own divine power and your voice, you begin to practice. Everything takes practice, right? Just like building a muscle takes practice when you exercise. So using your divine voice, even when others disagree with you, takes practice, especially when you doubt yourself, when inside of you, you're doubting yourself. So what I love to do is to learn about how to teach others to listen to their own voices. And I learned a lot from a rabbi. His name is Rabbi Alan Lew of blessed memory. He passed away years ago. He has some wonderful books. And in one of his books, Be Still and Get Going, he talks about this idea of leave taking. And I'm going to take this concept and kind of thanks for joining, and go kind of away from this idea. But I want to start with this concept of leave taking. Leave taking is a pathway to listen to your own soul. Leave taking comes in many forms. So for some people, leave taking means leaving their geographical environment so that they can find a path of their own, right? So some people need to physically, geographically leave their homes in order to find and listen to the sound of their own soul. For others, there's also people that, you hear of people retreating, retreating to India and sitting in an ashram and meditating and going on a silent retreat. So that's another way of retreating into your own soul. So what I'd like to introduce is this concept of leave taking, especially this time of COVID when you really can't leave. So the idea of leave taking is to leave your current environment by going into the voice and the power of your own soul, right in the middle of your own home. And how you do this, some call it meditation, some call it just moving meditation. When there is chaos around us, especially in the world of the unknown as we are in right now, I believe it's a new world. When there is chaos around us, when we have families, when we are possibly living with a lot of people under our roof, or just the chaos of the world, leave taking is finding a quiet moment away from the chaos to gather yourself. That's all it is. It's very simple. But most of us don't do that. And when we do it, it's in such a mind way that we forget to include our bodies and our emotions in it. And so the introduction of leave taking is to walk away from situations either in the middle of it, but preferably to carve out space for yourself before the chaos begins. Right? So I love this idea of creating a relationship with yourself and ultimately with your soul, your essence. So choosing a space in your house, choosing a space outside of yourself or outside of your home that speaks to you, and just sitting for a few minutes. Maybe it's as you wake up every morning. If you're not used to meditation, maybe it's as you open your eyes before you begin your day. Perhaps you just take deep breaths and and check in with your body and center yourself and center your soul. For those of you that have and are open to a meditation practice, this is a form of leave taking. And it comes, every breath is leave taking. So if you don't have the space in your home, breathing is your free tool. If you want to take it and make it really small, and the simplified version is that your breath is your tool to your soul. Your breath is the bridge to owning your own voice and listening to yourself. But often, I talked about last week, is that we get so caught up in our lives and so busy that we don't know how to sit still. We don't know how to find our silent spaces within. So leave taking is it's a way to set up a relationship with the innermost parts of who you are. And when you listen, so here's an example. If you are bothered by a situation that a coworker said to you, and you feel like you can feel the anger coming up, maybe you can't breathe, you notice it in your body that you're feeling really strong. If you leave take and you go into your own space and figure out what you're feeling, then you're creating a relationship with your voice. Ask yourself, I love the idea of speaking out loud. Ask yourself, what are you feeling? What am I feeling? If my emotions had words, what would they say? So figure out what you're feeling first. And then you can handle what comes at you next. You can handle using your own voice. So it takes some practice if you're not used to using your voice. So I always say the first step is checking in with your body. How do you feel? The next step is expressing how you feel just to yourself. The third step is to stand your truth and stand your ground. If you're in the throes of texting or in the throes of an immediate chaotic situation, leave take. There's nothing that says that you have to make a decision right there and then, and that you have to respond. It's called having boundaries. So part of owning your voice is having clear boundaries about what you need in order to take care of yourself. It is a way to create a relationship with yourself and the divine within you when life gets tough. Imagine pre-COVID. Imagine that you had a deep relationship with your soul. Imagine that you felt grounded in your body. And then imagine COVID happened. It was chaos, right? It was utter unknown. But imagine that even though you were feeling the unknown and you were feeling scared, that you had already created a relationship with the voice of your soul. Imagine how you would have reacted possibly differently than someone who has not created that relationship. So the invitation is to set up and grow a relationship with yourself. And that helps you when people outside of yourself are doubting you. I use my intuition a lot, and that's a different Facebook Live and live stream. But once you create a relationship with yourself, then you're setting yourself up to use your intuition and your divine abilities to check in. So it's all, I feel like it's like a building block. Do you know how when you form a relationship with somebody else, you get to know them, you talk, you experience each other, you see what you like, what you dislike, you see how you're going to gel in this relationship. This is the same with us. And it's all about leave taking. So I just want to leave you with this invitation to, if you have not already created a relationship with yourself, the invitation is to start small and sit with yourself long enough to be able to have a discussion. It's just like talking to somebody else, but instead you're talking to yourself. There's a beautiful saying that says that when you are still and have quieted your soul, the presence of your voice comes to life. And so this idea of stillness and leave taking really allows you to go back into life and to stand for yourself. Who is going to stand for you if you do not stand for yourself? And for some of us, it's a lifelong experience of learning how to do this. And for others, it just comes naturally. So I invite any comments, any ideas, any thoughts you have about your personal practice of leave taking and how you manage it and how you manage when you are being challenged from people on the outside of you. So listen to yourself, listen to the voice of your own soul, get outside in nature and still your body to help you listen. I always, always, always go outside when there is chaos around me and inside of myself. So get outside and listen to the sound of your own voice. Thank you so much for watching and for listening. I want to introduce, starting this Thursday night, May 21st at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, I am offering a class, and it's a group really for midlife women that are interested in learning how to unleash their love, how to unleash their love on their bodies. For many of us, many women have, thank you, Andrea. Many of us have shut down or abandoned our bodies. And so we're going to explore our bodies, our emotions unleashed, and our souls unleashed, and how to transform all of that into your life unleashed. And so you can always check us out on mysoulcenter.com under the events tab, and you'll see how to register. Or you can just go to the Facebook group or Soul Centered page to register. And have a wonderful, beautiful night and listen to the sound of your own divine soul. Namaste.